Welcome everybody. We're here for a very special podcast with a couple of very talented filmmakers and old friends from college. We got our co-host.
Hi, my name's David, and we're back.
We're back,
Narciso, and like he said, we have two special guests, two filmmakers and good friends from back in our film school days. Introduce yourself,
We got
gentlemen.
Mr. Senor Robert Pierre.
Hola.
And Eddie Lingo from
MovieLingo.
And
what else do I do?
you do game lingo.
Oh, game lingo. We were just talking about that.
Movie lingo, game lingo, he does it all.
Yeah, doing everything.
And TV lingo.
And TV lingo, which is falling behind dramatically, but yeah. Movie lingo, game lingo, TV lingo.
Yeah, he does all the movie reviews, game reviews on YouTube, so hit him up on that. Instagram.
Instagram is
Pump it up, baby.
Yeah, at MovieLingo is the Instagram. The Twitter is at MovieLingo1. Somebody wouldn't give it up.
I know that
That's
Twitter
the worst.
pain.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
Somebody
And I bet you have like one post.
That's it.
They don't even use it.
Somebody took the King Robert on Twitter.
Really?
No posts. No posts.
So what do you go by?
The King Robert 7.
7. Because I know I have you, but I don't remember what the hell you
Yeah.
put on this.
So sad.
So anyways, the big news is that you've been working on a short film.
Yes.
A very cool sci-fi film noir detective story.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about that?
It's about mental illness. That's the first thing.
Okay.
That's the underlying story. Just a film that I decided to work on after going on a Poli shoot. J.R. Poli, another person we went to film school with. We went to help him shoot November last year. November. Got motivated. They started writing that week.
Mm-hmm. This is usually how it works.
Yeah. To film in the summer, which is basically now. We filmed. Got done about, 3 weeks ago?
July 27th was the final day.
You guys shot quick, right? How long did you guys shoot?
Oh, no. Quick. It was supposed to be a 4 to 6 day shoot.
Uh-huh.
It ended up 8 days.
That's still
So-
pretty quick. I mean,
8 12-hour days. 8 12-hour days.
Yeah.
So,
But spanned over a month, right?
mid-June to late July.
July 27th, yeah. We had to do a couple of makeup days.
Yeah.
And then there were scheduling issues, so.
Yeah. Some of the hardest thing is to get everybody's schedule, aligned because people work, have families.
yeah, it isn't like film school where it's like a bunch of friends just jumping in and doing it. You're dealing with legit artists and people who are actually working in the business. So
Exactly. So
and
just
it's actually from what I've seen, it's like really ambitious because you have heavy effects.
yes. Funny thing is, anytime somebody read the script, and it's a short script because it's the first scene or first act of a feature, but I'm not trying to shoot the first feature unless I'm funded with the right amount of money. But the first thing they say is, "Oh, this living room scene has a lot of effects." So I guess that was people's way of telling me, "Yeah, you probably can't do this." So.
But we're used to that, right? When we were in school.
Oh yeah, because film school was all about experimenting. At least for me,
Teachers tell us that.
Yeah, and our crew, we always experienced. In fact, we were the first to green screen at Miami-Dade, so we always heard that type of stuff. Like even if you remember back in Rom, when he walks to the beach.
Yeah.
From
it's
green
like
screen,
shot.
exactly. And no one figured we would do that.
And the ambitious ghost fight.
Yeah.
Yes, the ambitious ghost fight. So yeah,
So that never stopped us. We get a vision and we go through it and we figure it out one way or another.
Yeah. And my thing was, I'm not gonna do anything that I don't know how to pull out. So before doing all this, I found out if I could do it and how to do it. There's a lot of things that I couldn't do,
Yeah.
that were pulled out. So imagine if they were in there. And
effects-wise, or
yes, effects-wise.
Huh.
Like I wouldn't have been able to do them. And in fact, this is not even the first scene that I wanted to shoot. This scene was actually the second act, and then the second act was the first act. But that was going to be harder to shoot. So I just rewrote the story and flip-flopped it.
Right. So, like, for those of you who don't know, what he basically did was he shot one act of the film, the bigger picture. But within that one act, it's basically a short film within itself.
Yeah.
So what you tend to do is, once this is done, you're going to pitch this towards the studios.
And film festivals.
And you're going to play it in film festivals. But
Yes.
the plan is to hopefully get it picked up.
Yes.
So then the grand masterpiece can be, your opus will be made.
Yes. Yes. And
Gotcha.
and generally a movie is usually 3 acts.
Right.
So just so people know.
I went to film school.
You know. No, not for you. No, for people listening.
And
Whatever.
the main character is played by another veteran,
Yes.
friend of ours,
Yes.
who is an actor named Owen.
Yes,
Mr.
who
Owen Miller.
we met back at film school.
Round of applause for
Mm-hmm.
Mr.
Owen still sticking around with
and
us.
Don't forget, Owen just won an award at LA Shorts Film Festival.
I saw
nice.
that for Police.
Very, very big award. He beat out actors like Alfred Molina,
Oh, wow.
Billy Bob Thornton. So this is no slouch award.
No, and for
Yeah.
those of you who also don't know, Owen Miller, he's one of those guys that if you look him up, you will know him because he's been in so much stuff, background or small roles here and there, and he is
The Denzel movie?
Out of Sight.
Oh, yeah,
He was in Out of Sight. He was in Burn Notice. He was an FBI agent in Burn Notice.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. He's been
yeah.
at it for a long time. Him and his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen them in a
Doug.
while, but
Doug.
yeah.
Actually,
Doug-
we hadn't seen Doug in a while too, but he popped
back
up.
up.
He
I
popped
saw
up.
him in the pictures
Yeah.
on the festival,
And he's not Fat Doug anymore.
He's
He's
all-
like real cocky and in shape.
Jesus Christ, this is bad.
Yeah.
So right now, where in the process of the film are you?
Post production.
Okay.
So we wrapped up shooting and everything is on editing now. So we will rough cut. I have David helping me to edit one cut. I'll edit one cut. Another friend of ours, Jazz, will edit one cut. We'll collaborate, see which shots to use for each cut, which shots to send to get effects. Then we will score it, depending on all of that. And we will sound mix also.
He's gonna have sound mix. So this is good. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
like you're doing it the professional way.
Yes, yes.
With the actual
Taking
composer,
yes,
sound mix,
Yes.
visual effects people, not doing it all yourself,
yes, yes.
which is good.
Yeah. Scoring, I have a guy, Robert Mullins, in California, so he'll be scoring it for us. And I don't even know about sound mixing yet, so
And you have like an international cast of effects, graphics, and you have like an army of people working on it.
Yes. I have about, I don't know, 3 to 5 2D animators, 5 3D animators, and 2 composite artists, 2 guys working on posters. They stem from Seoul, Korea,
Sounds like $1 million movie.
Finland, Poland,
I'm gonna
Canada,
draw something on Photoshop in 2 minutes for you.
France,
The most expensive 13-minute
yeah.
script ever.
UK, Ireland, Massachusetts, so in states actually. I want to say that's it.
Oh, that's not.
And you
enough.
interact with all these
We need
people
more.
like through like
Most of these people I met, I want to say all of them I met
All of
on
them.
Reddit.
Yeah.
On
Reddit.
different Reddit subs, the Cinema 4D sub, the effects sub, the animation sub, the After Effects sub, and you just ask them, hey, you want to help me with my story? You send them your story, and some of them say yes, some of them say no. So yeah, I interact either on Reddit, what is it? Accord? No, Discord. It's an app. WhatsApp. Or just email. So that's an everyday thing,
Yeah.
constantly, back and forth.
That's just the new age of doing things. You just find everything through boards and apps, and it's a lot different than it used to be.
Yes.
A lot easier
It's
too, I
amazing,
guess.
isn't it? Like he's getting all this professional or good quality work without spending a dollar.
Yeah. It's a totally different time from when we were like in college back in the day. And for those of you out there who are interested in making your own movies and you're listening to this, you can do quite a lot without much money.
You just gotta be persistent.
You just have to beg a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to explain to a lot of people are gonna not take you seriously, but it's possible. I mean,
Yeah.
look, you have an army of people and you gave them what, ramen noodles?
No, not even. Not even.
Okay, and what genre-wise and stuff, like what inspired you? Because I know you and me have a lot of similar tastes. So like even from back in the day, some of our short films were always very noir, detective, sci-fi-ish or whatever. What are the things that like inspired you to like do this style of short film again?
Cowboy Bebop,
Yeah.
probably number one. Actually, I have some references to Cowboy Bebop in the story.
Oh, that's cool.
Some people will pick it up, some people won't. The Coen brothers, No Country for Old Men, things like that. Fargo, the series Fargo.
Yeah, I heard that's
Yeah,
really good.
good
I haven't
stuff.
seen
Good
that.
stuff.
I
Film
haven't seen
noir, Blade Runner 2049. Music, just listening to music. Bright Eyes. A lot of people don't know that band, but Bright Eyes. That's basically it.
I mean, even the style. I mean, I've seen a lot of the behind the scenes pictures and videos that you're always posting and stuff, and it's very much noir in the way it's lit, the way it's shot, the angles, even the angles of some of your effects. It's very like up close and personal and stuff. So it looks kind of like almost like an anime or comic. Like you can see the panels.
Yeah, and of course that's the Cowboy Bebop, inspiration from it. But I always loved film noir. You know that. I love film noir without even knowing that I was liking film noir.
Right.
If I go back and list my top 100 movies, probably more than half of them will be film noir, without knowing.
Yeah, even like old school stuff like Casablanca and stuff.
Oh, of course.
The lighting and all the.
Yeah, like The Killers. Just a lot of old school stuff. Bullet.
So anybody that wants to follow you in like your process and keep up to date with something like this, what would they follow? Get more information on this film.
My Instagram is The King Robert. Facebook, The King Robert, and then I have a Facebook for the movie,
The Last Today,
which is the title of the movie, and my Twitter is The King Robert 7.
Okay.
Your Facebook is what?
The King Robert.
Is it? I thought it was Bobby Brain.
No,
Oh, yeah.
no. Like my Facebook, when you look up The King Robert, then Bobby Brains comes up because
Gotcha.
you can edit Facebook names or whatever. But
I know this has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
How the hell did Bobby Brains come about?
it's stupid, and it probably makes no sense except
I
to
swear
me.
to God, every time I see that, I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, and it's gonna make no sense.
Brains.
Name is Robert.
I got that part. Right?
Yeah, so I hate it when people call me Bob. Right, growing up.
The hell called you Bob?
Yeah, growing up, like people just
We didn't even call him Robert. It was the King.
Well, yeah,
For a
no,
long time, it was the King.
Yeah.
This man would walk into a classroom in front of everybody, erase whatever the teacher previously put on the board, and just write "the King" in quotation marks and sit down.
That's it.
That was
Everybody
this type
like,
of guy.
okay.
Yeah. The funny thing about that is some teachers didn't even know my name. That's what they would call me. So it's like, hey, the King, answer this question. Oh my goodness.
That's how I met you. I've been calling you King for like 10 years, and then
Yeah.
one day I'm noticing on Facebook like, who's Robert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's
Bobby?
Bobby? Pictures right? Like
Listen, half the
Bobby
people,
Brain. Oh shit, it's King.
half the people on Facebook, like it's a year past, and they're like, who is this? And I'm like, don't you see my pictures? It's me, Robert.
Everyone knows him as the King.
Oh,
The
like,
man of many names.
The thing is that he goes through name changes. Apparently, back
Yeah,
before we
yeah.
met him, he was the cool nerd.
I
Remember?
didn't know.
Then we had a brief nickname for you, Totes. Whether they work out.
Yes, because
Oh,
the
Totes
hat.
hat.
Okay, but I have a question though. Seeing the footage of the raw footage.
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
So the Bobby Brains, people started calling me Bob, and I hated it. And I guess as you get older, things change or whatever. And then people just started calling me Bobby for no reason, and people would always say, "Oh, you think you know everything? You think you know everything?" So I just went with the Bobby Brains as I know everything.
Okay.
So again, it's another nickname you gave yourself.
Well, listen, the King thing was since I was 12, so I think I deserved that.
I forgot how did the King thing
The
start?
King,
Burger King hat?
No, the King thing came.
The Burger King hat. I thought you walked around with the Burger King hat.
No, because
that sounds like something he would do.
Growing up, everybody had a nickname. Except me. And then so one of my friends was like, "Hey, if you want a nickname, you have to give yourself a nickname and then don't answer people unless they call you that nickname." And I was like, "Okay, then I'm going to call myself the King." So at 12, I called myself the King, and I wouldn't answer people unless they called me the King. And so,
wow.
So how does that work out now with LeBron James?
he stole it, and he's not in Miami anymore. That's all I know.
So what I was getting at, I noticed on the clapperboard it says under director, it said Bobby Pierre. So is that what you're going to be going by?
No.
That was like a joke.
No, that wasn't even a joke. That was
Dean.
No.
John?
Mike. No, John.
John is the clapper guy.
Yeah,
by the way,
yeah.
A lot of the footage.
John Rojas.
You got to tell him, John, we love you, but the numbers sometimes don't match what he says. Well, scene 22 is just 25 on there.
Yeah.
And I'm with the,
I already went. I already spoke to him about that. But no, it's funny because John knows us from Miami-Dade also.
Yeah.
And the people who don't know my real name and they call me Bobby Brains, those are people who only know me on Facebook or whatever. But John knows me, but for some reason he still calls me Bobby. Instead of
Really? I
calling,
thought he called you King always.
he switches up. He'll say Bobby and he'll call me King sometimes. So
he respects the clapperboard.
So he wrote on the clapperboard and he wrote my name as Bobby. So no Bobby Pierre. Sorry.
Okay, so it's gonna be Robert Pierre. Is that what?
I'm still thinking about it.
Still thinking about it?
Yeah.
So on the Facebook and stuff, people can go there and they can see all the behind the scenes. They can see the pictures. They can see the awesome freaking artwork and poster works that you guys have been doing. And all that.
They can see most of the stuff I posted. Eddie posts probably more than me because I'm just editing. Sometimes I don't even have time to post.
You're the hype man.
Yeah, pretty much the hype man.
Yeah.
And all the behind the
Yeah,
scenes
You did all the photos, right?
Yeah, and so I was posting what I thought would get people excited. Really, if you want to see most of the behind the scenes, you can go to my productions Instagram, which is Malign Pictures, at Malign Pictures.
Spell that out.
MALIGN Pictures with an S at the end.
So the shooting days, anything interesting happen? Any stories that you want to share with us?
Yes. First day was horrible. Horrible. Cause
That was the day that the cars didn't show up?
Yeah, because you plan, and then, of course, things going to go bad. So there's this one guy that I found on OfferUp. Don't know if people know what OfferUp is. Basically Craigslist, but an app. He had a car that used to be a police car.
Mm-hmm.
And so it had the lights and everything. And so he was going to rent it out for me for $100. That was like a month before the shoot. Stayed in constant contact with him, updating him, everything. So I call him. I text him the day before the shoot to remind him the shoot is tomorrow. Then the day of the shoot, a couple hours before the shoot, I text him again. Are you ready? He goes off. What are you talking about? My shop is in Pompano. I live in Pembroke Pines. Why didn't you give me advance warning? I was like, I did yesterday. Oh, do you think that I'm sitting here worrying about your shoot? You should have called me earlier today. And so I'm not even worrying about him because it's already going bad. I'm not going to get in a back and forth. Then he's like, you know what? I'm going to go get you the car. But now you're going to have to pay for my gas because my girlfriend has to drop me off. And I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah, whatever. And one of his agreements on top of the $100 was he started a new business. Give him positive Google reviews. So it was 20 positive Google reviews. And now he's like, and now you owe me 50 Google reviews. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. I'm just going to create 50 accounts and give you 50 reviews. Just get me the car.
Google Bitcoins.
Yeah, and so
all the Google reviews are cool nerd, King, Bobby, Robert.
All his different
and so he gets there, And then he calls me, like literally cursing me out, like I cheated on him or something. Just all type of bad words or whatever.
He actually showed up with the car?
No, he didn't actually show up with the car. So he said his car was overheating. He didn't know what was wrong with it. It was my fault because I never came to check out the car, even though his business is selling cars. So he's cursing me out. And the only thing I can think is, you sell cars. And so I said to him, I'm like, you sold cars. I figured you were good. And so he gets super mad and curses me out and just hangs up the phone. Right?
It's like a cartoon character.
So he hangs up the phone. So that's bad right there.
Yeah, if he showed up, it would have been a nightmare. It would have been something else. And then you would probably been stuck with him because you already shot the car.
Yeah, exactly. And then that was walking out the door to go shoot. And then while I'm en route to go shoot, there was a guy supposed to bring a GTR for us to use. The guy just stopped texting me. Just out of the blue, he just stopped texting me. Now, the scenes to be shot that day was the GTR being pulled over by a police car. Mm-hmm. So I have no police car and I have no GTR. And that was the first day of shooting. So.
And you ended up shooting Owen?
Shot,
yeah, right?
Yeah,
shot, but like all bloody.
Yeah, because he after he gets pulled over, he's supposed to elude the police. Mm-hmm. So.
He recreated. He changed it up.
No, actually, I was in it, but I just wasn't planning on shooting that day,
okay.
So were you able to recover the cars scene?
Yes, the car scene was the second to last day. I actually had to find another guy, rent a police car. Then I went to begging again, this time on Instagram. Looked up GTRs and all things like that, and I got to this group of GTR people that have like 50 GTRs. It's like 50. And then the guy put me in a group with all of them on WhatsApp. And he told me, you have to be persistent. Like, that's the only way you're going to get it. So they would meet up every Tuesday.
Like a car club?
Yeah, like a car club in, different spots. So one time I went and I stalked them. They were at Longhorn. I went to Longhorn. Then I was there and I gave them my card. And then the guy remembered me. He put me in the WhatsApp group, and I begged for like 2 days. Who would do this? Who would do this? Who would do this? Who would do this? One guy said yes, and then I think on the day of filming, he flaked out. Also, he just I think he disappeared.
Yes.
And then.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go. You might remember.
For safety, you had two people coming the same day. You're like, we'll see what happens.
Both of those guys flaked out, actually. Yeah. And even before that, it was another guy that I found on Facebook, and he was going to drive from Orlando. Like, he was like, no, I'll do it. And I was like, I'll put you in a hotel in a way. He was like, no. I have a cousin that lives in Miami. You don't have to give me anything. He disappeared also. And so I go back to the GTR group, and I'm begging. And one guy, he said he would do it, but he sold his GTR. And the beginning of the story is the original guy who I was supposed to use his GTR. I found him on Craigslist, and that means, of course, his car was for sale. He sold it 2 weeks before I shot. So that's why I was scrambling for a GTR. Anyway, this one guy, Manny Fresh, not the rapper, but his Instagram, I think Manny Fresh. I don't know the numbers. And he did it for me for $65, but I only gave him 50. Because he didn't have change. He was like, whatever. So he did it for $65. He stayed there the whole night, even though I told him it was 2 hours. It ended up being way longer than that. And I told him I would need him 2 days. And so he came back the last day also. For $50, but what he did was not even worth $50. Like I owe him way more money than that. So he did it. I got that. I still talk to him, and that was the end of my hassle.
He did the last today.
the two officers, they were actors.
Yes, the two officers actually I met because I did a Poli shoot. So when we helped Poli in November last year, he had a screening in January. and one of the actors acted in his movie. So, I was on shoot with him, or whatever. So I figured, I would just put him in. Whenever I wrote, I would just write him in my story. I told him that, and of course, people don't listen to when you tell them that because it's November and you tell them I'm going to shoot in June. They're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I did put him in it. And the second police guy, the white guy, I met him at the screening for Police film. And
He was in Police as well.
no, he wasn't in
He
it.
was just another actor
He
that's
was just someone who knew Poley.
He was a cop working the lines.
Yeah, and the funny thing about him is he knew the sound guy that I ended up getting later, last minute also. So
And the actress who plays the Russian drug dealer?
the actress Pressa, who plays the Russian drug dealer, we got off of backstage. Yeah, not Backpage. Not Backpage.
Backpage of what?
Yeah, no, you don't know the site Backpage?
Yeah,
Is that the
That site Backpage is infamous for
prostitutes, right?
Yeah, for women. For women.
It's like Craigslist.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's still active, but so yeah, Backstage we got
Big difference.
Yeah, big difference.
Worlds apart.
Yeah, we got her off of that. I was talking to her for months. Initially, that wasn't even her role. Initially, the character wasn't even Russian, But as I was writing the story, I was still casting. The character turned to Russian, and then I was talking to her, and I was like, "Can you pull off Russian?" And she got with her acting coach, and she was practicing. So, yeah, she did the Russian.
I mean, I don't know Russian, but it sounds legit.
Well,
she speaks some Russian in there.
She does speak Russian, and in fact, the character wasn't even a woman. That character was supposed to be a male, but that's how casting goes. The Russian thing, actually, I'm part of a writing sub on Reddit, and I asked if anybody knows Russian, and then I gave him my script, and I told him what would be the proper way to write this, and then he wrote it in Russian for me. And I told him, send me the voice of him saying the dialogue. And cool. I sent it to her so she could practice, and that's how she knows the Russian.
Yeah, because I'm also Robert's editing his movie, and I'm helping editing a version 2. And my son's walking around speaking Russian.
Yeah,
because there's a part where she shouts Russian words at him.
He shouldn't say those words.
I know. I look at the script and I'm like, oh, okay. But he's repeating the Russian words.
Yeah, he shouldn't repeat those words.
Because I have speakers, so I'm blasting it sometimes.
Yeah.
I try to do it when he's asleep, but sometimes I can't.
Yeah.
So he'll hear it. He's like, he wants me to keep playing it over and over again.
People always learn the language of curse words.
He asked me for White Russian the other day. I don't know. So any other interesting things aside from a bummer first day? I think that's kind of like a staple for every shoot. Is always like the first day is always a nightmare.
I don't think there's any movie shoot that has ever been like, oh man, it was smooth all the way through.
Even on big shoots, I think a lot of first days are bad.
Yeah.
I totally out of left field, but it reminds me. I remember listening to the behind the scenes or either the commentary on Dances with Wolves, and that was Kevin Costner's first movie. The first day he messed up. He said the tracks wrong, and then he totally had to wing. He had no idea what he was doing, but he couldn't let the crew know.
Yeah.
So he pretended like, oh, you know what? I have another idea. Let's move let's get a shot this way. It was all because he just set up the tracks wrong.
Yeah.
And he just had to fake it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because...
Did everyone know things were going wrong, or you kind of...
Well, I was updating everybody as I knew, and they were, and everybody just wanted to get stuff done and not waste the day. So they
I
were
think
like...
they kind of knew because you were crying in the corner.
Well, I wasn't crying in the corner. I was just crying. It's just everywhere,
Obvious.
Yeah.
When the two big
Cars
staples.
Yeah.
The set pieces aren't there.
It's like, okay,
we're green screening it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
The two other main actors, the cars are not here.
Yeah. No, I was...
You could just add it in later, CG, right?
That's what everybody said. But it's funny because initially I wanted to do that as toy models, but I just didn't. Just to pull over, just a lot of stuff, but I just didn't have time to plan it, so
I think it worked out good because that footage looks great with the lights going and everything.
Yeah, that last minute cop.
We actually probably we got it done in 3 takes. I thought it would take longer.
Yeah,
damn, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And I know you got permits. You did legit. Did you get permits for everything? Like, saw there's one part you shot in front of the Freedom Tower at AAA Arena. Like, you just winged it. You just pulled in there.
No.
Because they had a part where a car would have to come around and everything.
A lot of permits were legit. The second day with the cop car was it wasn't even legit, because the first day we shot, right? I had permits. I had permits, but and then some cops came to the gas station. And we thought they were coming for us. Supposedly there was some disturbance, I guess because it was a bunch of us. But I go to the cop and I'm like, yeah, I got permits, and I need to contact you guys because I've been calling you and nobody's answering their phone, and because we're gonna have guns. And he's like, you have a permit? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, I don't care. And that was it.
He even tried to show him.
Like, hey, I even tried to show him. Like, he didn't even want to see it. So the second day, like, I really didn't care. Because I figured it was going to be the same thing, because these were two gas stations across the street. Freedom Tower, how their permitting works, if you're shooting on Biscayne Boulevard, you got to get a blockade, and you got to get motor vehicle involved, and then they have to approve of the permit. So I told them, suppose I shoot like on the street next to Biscayne. And they're like, oh yeah, you don't need any of that. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to shoot on the street next to Biscayne. But I was really shooting on Biscayne. So, yeah. So, yes and no, we had permits. If they would have stopped us, we would have just went to that street. And in fact, we only took like 3 shots on Biscayne. Really, most of it was done in a parking lot.
We got lucky. That was a last minute gold.
Yeah, and that wasn't even planned.
We were parking there, and then they were just thinking about the position of the car. And
you cheated what you had to do.
Yeah, well, Matt, that's
flashing
Matt.
lights. Was that in front of? Was that cheating? When the car flashed the lights behind him, was that also Freedom Tower? Or that was somewhere else?
Yes, that was cheating also. Yeah. But that was actually done for real too. But the lights inside the car flashing were fake, but you see the exterior, of course. And the thing about Freedom Tower is when me and Eddie went to scout the location. Usually it's like 2-3 in the morning. So locations look different 2-3 in the morning than they look at 10 at night. But the Freedom Tower changes colors. I don't know if it's nightly or whatever. And it was red that day. So I wrote everything on it being red. The day we shot, it was yellow. So yeah, it was like whatever. Well, we got over it and we just filmed. Like, whatever.
And the liquor store, I'm assuming you had permission to shoot there?
Yes, the liquor store is not even a liquor store I wanted to shoot at. I had several that I was working with, but this was the only guy who would answer me constantly, and he wouldn't care.
But we did have a big setback in the beginning with the liquor store.
Yeah. When we got to the liquor store, this was a guy I was in contact with for like 2 months. And when we got there, the lady who had seen me there scouting was okay with me, but it was a new guy working that night. And he was like, I don't know you guys. And then I was like, but this lady is vouching for me. He's like, I don't care. I don't know you guys. So I had to go and talk to him. I just talked about football, and then that was it.
That was
and it's funny. It's not even about football. It's about old college football. And he's like, hey, how do you know that player? I said, So once we talked about football, that was it, because he wasn't going to let us behind the counter. Even though the owner said yes, he still wasn't going to let us behind the counter.
The clerk was an actor too? I just assumed that was actual clerk at the liquor store.
No. The clerk is someone
the kid with the cap.
Yeah. He's a guy who he wants to be a comedian. He's trying to be a comedian, a stand-up comedian. And Eddie referred me to him, so you could plug him right now if you want to. Also,
Christian Martinez, but I'll get his Instagram stuff.
Christian Martinez. So that's his first time acting. He was like super.
You could tell in the raw footage, you guys are like, wait for action.
Yeah.
Like they would start shooting. He would say his lines already, and before they would say action.
His very first time trying acting. So he was like, when he did a little audition for me, and he was good. But then the moment we were ready to shoot, nerves. After he. He watched Owen when we shot down by the Freedom Tower, because we were supposed to do two locations at one night, but we ended up having to move the liquor store. And he was solid, he was good, but then I guess when he saw how serious we took it, he told me later, he was like, you guys really, really, really serious. I don't want to mess it up. I was like, you're good, you're fine. And I was like, you're overthinking it. And he was like, yeah, but I just don't want to piss people off. I don't want to waste anybody's time. And the closer and closer we got to his action, the more nervous and stuff he got in there. When it was time, they had to like reel him back in. But he did all right.
Yeah.
Should have given him some liquor.
You should.
So how about the big effects scene, or like all those scenes inside the like, I don't know, you have a label like
right.
3A or whatever.
There's
how did that go? All that green screen stuff.
half of that stuff I don't know what I'm doing. You know, it's just green screen. You're just gonna add stuff because it's supposed to be real trippy and real quick. So as long as it doesn't look like you're inside a house. The effects scene, since you're editing, you know it. There's a shot that pans up to the roof. Mm-hmm. Don't know if you noticed that. The roof is supposed to rip off right there. So that shot has to be tracked or whatever. So I sent it to the effects guy, and he's working on it for 2 weeks, and he couldn't track that shot because he's supposed to track the shot and rebuild the room. So because like if you look at the shot, the green screen doesn't cover the entire room. You see the lights and stuff like that, but he's supposed to rebuild the room, and if you can't track it, you can't rebuild it. So he's having problems, and we're going back and forth, and he's doing it in 3 different programs, and he can't rebuild it. So I had one guy who specialized just in tracking, and in fact I had like 5 different people, and I sent the clip to all 5 of them, and they were able to do it. And he's like, put me in contact with these people so I can do it. So now he's working on that tracking shot and rebuilding the room. So that's that. There's supposed to be a shot where he's trippy and he sees you probably don't even know this one exactly. But
that's
the cereal
so much
box
going on. I haven't touched that one yet.
Yeah, because Jazz
some effects. So
Jazz doesn't even want to touch that scene. He says, you know what? He's like, you know what? All these trippy effects thing, I'm not even going to add that in my cut
because one little change can fuck you up.
Yeah, so. There's a shot where you see a cereal box. We go back and forth to a cereal box. You'll see it if you haven't seen it. And what's supposed to happen there is the mascot on the cereal box is supposed to pop out off the cereal box. And Owen sees him, or Leonard in the story sees him, and he's supposed to track him, and does a loop-de-loo around his head, and he flies away. And that's supposed to be that. So, and
I saw a storyboard of that. What's the character? On the box?
The character. Actually, I'm going to change the character on the box. The character on the box is 3 characters. It's a space lion, and he has like 2 cadets.
Okay.
And the cadets basically are Chasen and Ahsoka. My kids. So, but I'm going to change from a space lion and probably go to a bear.
Okay.
So.
Is it traditional animation or it's going to be like CG?
I'm supposed to talk to this guy from Canada. He's been busy working on set for whatever, so it could be 3D cell shaded, or it could just be traditional 2D. We still have to talk.
Damn, so there's like more ongoing effects that you haven't even gotten to yet.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of screen replacements. I see a lot of tracking on phones and pads and screens.
Yes. Actually, a couple weeks ago, I went begging on Reddit again because I constantly beg on Reddit, no matter what, no matter how many people I get. And I got this one guy who actually does effects on Supernatural.
The show?
Yeah, the show. And he's like, I'll do something. So I will send that screen replacement to him. But the screen replacement is for a phone, so I have to do a storyboard and all the apps that's supposed to be there. And then there's another one he's supposed to do where the phone combusts on fire. So he's supposed to do that one also.
Yeah.
Like I said, very effects heavy short.
Yeah. I just sent off 2 shots, bullet hits.
His pistol and stuff is traditional or like sci-fi-ish?
Actually, that pistol is a real pistol, so it's traditional. I want to say it's been around since 2002 or whatever. It looks very sci-fi. People think it's a fake gun, but it's actually a real gun. It's called a Chiappa Rhino 40DS. But it looks looks like a cool pistol,
Mm-hmm.
and that was actually part of the inspiration for the story. I know it's stupid that you would find your inspiration on a pistol, but yeah, I saw that pistol, a smaller version on the show. Oh my goodness, what's the name of that show? Annie Walker. What's the show? The character Annie Walker. Anybody know?
Danny Walker.
Annie Walker. She was a spy. The lady in Looper.
Oh,
Covert Affairs.
Emily Blunt.
Covert Affairs.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. So Covert Affairs. I used to watch Covert Affairs, and she had the smaller version of that gun, and I was in love with it from that point, and I always just wanted to use it.
And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, and it would actually be a character.
This gun needs someone to hold it.
Yeah.
That's the gun that you created in the 3D printer. Right?
Yeah, that's the
3D
gun.
printed the gun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
3D
true.
printed.
You 3D printed that thing.
Yeah, but I did a crappy job of coloring it, so you see the gun in the
Why,
shadows.
you spray painted it yourself?
I did spray paint it myself, but I didn't
Dark
sand it.
inside.
I didn't sand it down all the way. So
It has like the
Yeah,
plastic edges on.
if you look at it in
Yeah.
regular light, it's still like looks like
yeah.
a
So
army man with a little plastic.
You
hand.
couldn't get probably the easiest thing to get, like a model maker.
actually, it's funny because after that, I did find a model maker. I have a friend who hooked me up with a guy who works on a bunch of TV shows. Like a crap load of TV shows, and he's a model maker in Canada.
So like, you had to look for someone with a specific kind of 3D printer that can do this type of thing, or
That's another production hell story. Since this gun is not a common gun, and what's funny is that gun is in what's the Joker movie? The one that just Suicide Squad. Okay, so
The Joker movie.
So yeah, that gun is the gun.
you mean the movie The Joker's buried in?
Yeah. That's Harley Quinn's gun in Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
But
you're right.
Harley Quinn has the longer version. I wanted the shorter version. So anywhere you look, you could get the longer version. You could get models of the longer version. But I wanted the shorter version. So it's a guy I found, and he was supposed to make me a CG model of the shorter version for $75. Some guy in Spain somewhere.
Damn.
He gets to doing it, and then he disappears. Right? So I'm like, okay. Now, so what I do is I try to look for people selling 3D printers. I figure if you're selling a 3D printer, you have a 3D printer, you can make models. So I contact one guy. He doesn't do them, but he refers me to a guy who does them on Craigslist. Some guy in Cairo. So
This shit's more international than a James Bond movie. What's going on?
It's everywhere.
So this guy will do it for me.
Big credits are going to be longer than
Right.
Special thanks to Cairo, Egypt,
Yeah.
Algeria.
So this guy will do it for me for $100. Boom, he busts it out real quick. Now there's a problem when I try to get it printed. So the initial guy who sent me to this guy, he's supposed to print it for like $15, which is super good for a print. He can't print one side. One side is off. So we're talking to the guy in Cairo. One side is off. The guy's getting frustrated because basically we just tell him his work is crap. One side is off. I don't know if his conversion from Cairo to America got messed up, but something wasn't right. I see two other people. They say something isn't right. So finally I go to a real 3D printing company, and they're like, something is off. Tell the guy, give us his measurements. So the guy gives us his measurements, and then boom, he disappears and doesn't talk to me anymore.
Everyone disappeared.
Right, yeah. So he doesn't talk to me anymore. But these guys get the measurements, they fix it up, but they charge him like $100 just to fix it up. And then they finally give me a print out of it, and that was that.
And the rest was history.
And the rest is history.
It's crazy how like nowadays like you could just 3D print
Yeah.
props and
But
stuff.
the thing with the initial guy was it was gonna be like right now it's not a moving. It has no moving parts. The initial guy was gonna do it with moving parts. You know, so
you have the trigger and
yeah, exactly. So that's why he was good, but you know he disappeared.
And how about the daytime stuff at the park? Did that turn out okay?
Daytime stuff.
The park, all the beach stuff.
Okay. The beach stuff.
Final day of shooting.
the beach stuff. Something's been happening with our beaches, and I'm not even talking about that poison.
Red tide shit.
Not even that. Not even the red tide stuff. Seaweed everywhere.
Oh, it's that time of year.
Yeah, so
it's that time of year.
seaweed everywhere. So we go to the beach. When I initially scouted this beach, it was months ago, and the beach was It looked super good. It looked like a beach. With all that seaweed, the sand is basically black. So, it's like, it doesn't look like a tourist attraction, but we dressed it up and we had it look as much like a beach as possible. And plus, it's supposed to be a special sequence, so
I can give you some B-roll footage of Rom.
Yeah, I probably will need it.
Have you seen any of
I don't know if
photographs?
the quality is
The
any
little thing that they
good.
built up, because there's a sequence where you get sucked in the sand.
I only saw the.
That was fun to do. Owen seemed to enjoy that.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He had the sand.
Yeah, they had like a pit.
Yeah.
The sand on top.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, the funny thing about Owen this whole time is like he doesn't know what the heck I'm doing. Like a lot of people, they don't know what I'm doing.
Most of the cast.
Yeah. People don't know what I'm doing. Even Owen calls me up after, he accepted the role or whatever, and
He's like king. What the hell?
Oh, he's a swim.
Basically, no, yeah. That was basically it. And the funny thing is, I go to explaining him in technical terms everything we're doing, and he's like, "I didn't understand a word you said, but you sound like you know what you're saying, so I'm gonna just trust you." So yeah, Owen, like when he's following the fake mascot off the cereal box, he's like, am I doing this right? I don't know. So
Well, that's like a problem.
Grumpy McCullen.
Like almost every big actor in Hollywood.
yeah,
They've had issues like that. Now, more and more days now, like movies are more like effects heavy, and they have to act by themselves in a room covered in green.
yeah.
And they get frustrated because they have old school, ways of doing things. And now it's like, no, just look at the tennis ball. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's
we're
your sidekick
in a
there.
suit with dots acting as the cartoon.
That wasn't in the budget.
Yeah, budget. Yeah, exactly. That's the key
Well,
word.
it's not. The suit's not going to work. They just want to have you there anyway.
Yeah.
In pajamas and tracking balls
Green man, like a semi-pro.
Yeah. with ping pong balls all over him.
Yeah, that's the excuse for everything. It wasn't in the budget.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
man, I guess that's quite a bit enough of information.
Mhm.
But
Did you actually give a synopsis, or did you just say it was mental issues?
Yeah, I don't know if you want
I
to say
think you just
that.
said it was mental health.
Well, quick synopsis.
all right,
is,
so wait.
I can.
Sell it to us. If we were the studio and you're pitching it when you're done, what like Owen? What the hell am I watching? What am I doing here?
Well, it's kind of different because I'm not done with the story. Like I'm still writing the story, so that I guess that's the point of the visuals. You can see what I'm trying to do.
But for the short that you are shooting, for the act that you are going to complete,
Okay.
what is going on?
Like the
What is this
Netflix
going
sentence that it would say.
A depressed private detective tries a psychedelic drug for the first time, and it leads to hallucinations and murder.
on? Okay. And this is in the not so distant future?
No, this is actually modern times.
Modern times.
Modern times.
Okay.
hmm
Okay.
People think when they see the gun, it's a futuristic.
Yeah, the gun and the smart contact are all things now, so it's just I guess I like that futuristic feel that's not futuristic.
You're just elaborate. Yeah, kind of like Looper.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You're just kind of insinuating what we have now.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
future, but it doesn't look too different.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah. It doesn't look like.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Awesome, man. Well, you know what? Congratulations
Thank you.
on getting it done. I know you
Thank
still
you.
have a long way to go.
Very long.
And we will keep everyone updated as you progress. As soon as you get more information on the film festivals
Yes.
that you enter and all that,
Yes.
we will let all of you guys know. We'll post it on the website. And once again, follow him at
The King Robert 7 on Twitter, The King Robert on Instagram, The King Robert on Facebook.
and the name of the movie,
The Last Today.
And really quick before we close, I know you're working on something as well, right? Is there anything you want to say about anything?
I want to let people know that my movie is coming. We pushed it back now twice.
Yeah.
My short film is called Truth Astray, and it is also starring on.
Everything stars on.
Yeah, pretty much. And also Pressa, who plays the Russian.
Yeah.
Actually, we're pretty much using a lot of the people we know we can count on.
Yeah.
And it basically just deals with three criminals that meet up to discuss a job that went sideways. Then a fourth uninvited individual shows up with all the answers and more. And we were supposed to shoot it in July, had to push back because of Schedulation with Matt, the DP, with Matt Green, and then we were supposed to shoot the last week in September, but now our main actor Owen, he's got the paying job that's going to take him out through the rest of the year. So we won't be shooting now until early 2019. So I want to say, Truth to Straight is still going to get made. It is still coming.
And for people to know when that comes out, they can follow you at...
Well, that film will be on my Instagram, my production Instagram and Twitter, which is Malign Pictures, MALIGN Pictures.
With an S.
With an S.
Yes. Okay, that's the same on Instagram and Twitter, so you don't have to worry about any digits or numbers there. You know, you can follow me, Eddie Lingo, on Instagram, and I also have a page for Malign Pictures as well. So all of the updates will be coming through there, and then of course I know that the King Robert will be helping me push it just as much as I'm pushing it. So there'll be plenty of information going out there once we get closer to shooting. But I'm still in pre-production now. What this the time that we have now allows me to get more money to try and lock in our sound guy, because that's the only thing I don't have that Robert was able to secure.
Sound people are expensive, man.
They're expensive. And the guy he had was willing to work with me on the same deal, because he actually worked a great deal. But
super great deal.
Scheduling was the issue. But now that we're pushing it back, he may be available. I don't know. But that's pre-production on that is all we're focused on right now.
So you're going to be busy for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm also making a movie called Owen, not with Owen Miller.
And Owen's going to be playing the Invisible Man in my movie.
Okay, I got you.
So the September thing that works out great.
Yeah,
It's going to be a lot of voiceover.
So that's it. That wraps up for today's episode. I want to thank Eddie Lingo and the King Robert for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
The last today. Can't wait to see this, man. Really hyped up. Follow it. Look for the artwork. Beautiful poster artwork. I know it's not ready yet, but I'm loving what I'm watching. I'm gonna put it up for the thumbnail of this podcast so you can all see and get kind of a taste of what this film is gonna kind of have a vibe. So, till next time.
Till next time.
So next time, I'm David.
Narciso.
Eddie Lingo.
Bobby Brains.
There you go.
Till next time. Bye.